West Fresno, a driver ending up crashing onto the roof of a house. Look at that video. That's crazy. It happened around 1:30 this morning on Emerson. That's just south of the area of Shaw and Valentine. That's where we find CBS 47's Mike Scott live this morning. So, Mike, I saw pictures earlier. The crane was there a second ago. Is the car off the roof finally?
The car is off the roof now. Yeah, this is one of the strangest stories that I've covered in a while, Zara. As you saw in that video, a car ended up on the roof of an apartment complex around 1:30 this morning. Apparently, a car was speeding down the street here, hit some rocks, hit a tree stump that launched the car into the air, and as you see there, the car landed up on the roof. Now, it's amazing to me that the car didn't crash right through there. It just stayed there on the roof. Just minutes ago, they did get it down finally. Unbelievably, there were people inside that apartment. They're okay. We talked with one of the young girls who was there. She was babysitting at the time.
Were you scared when you first saw it?
Yeah, I thought the car was gonna fall through the roof.
So you said it sounded like an earthquake?
Yeah, it felt like, well, it didn't sound like, it just felt, because it was weird, because I don't know how to explain it, but I just thought it was an earthquake, like, oh, earthquake. And the first thing that just popped in my head was just grab him, and I just snatched him off the couch, and then he woke up.
The driver of the car fled from the scene at the time of the traffic collision, and he has since been caught by our police officers in the area of Shaw and Marks. Our officers have not positively identified him as the driver, but he was fleeing from this area, and he's displaying some injuries, and we are pretty confident that we have the driver over at Shaw and Marks.
Yeah, and here is the video of that suspect being arrested. As you'll see here in just a moment, he's only wearing boxer shorts. Police say they're not sure if this guy was possibly under the influence of something. They're trying to get an ID on him right now. But again, that suspect arrested a short time ago at Shaw and Marks. All right, Sarah, the car is off the roof. They used a big crane, like, you know, getting an air conditioning unit off a roof. That's how they got it down. We'll show you that video a little bit later in the morning. And I have to tell you, Sarah, driving out here along Shaw Avenue, the fog wasn't too bad till I hit about west, and then it really got socked in. So I think we're going to see in West Fresno, the western side of Fresno, the fog a lot thicker perhaps this morning than in other parts of the city. Anyway, we'll continue to monitor the situation here near Shaw and Valentine. Interesting story, wouldn't you say, Sarah?
Yeah, I would certainly say you're right. This is one of the strangest stories we've covered in a while, and luckily no one in the house got hurt. We'll check back in with you later, Mike. Thank you.
Nope.
Breaking news out of Northwest Fresno. Cleanup is continuing after a car ended up on the roof of a house. Look at that. It happened just south of Shaw and Valentine around 1:30 this morning. A lot of excitement in that neighborhood, but finally Mike Scott joins us live again. Mike, it looks like people are going to try and get some shut-eye before starting their mornings now.
Finally, yeah. I mean, just a few minutes ago, Zara, this neighborhood was filled with police cars and fire trucks and tow trucks and a big crane. But as you can see behind me now, that's all gone. Thankfully, they've cleaned everything up. But what a scene. Take a look. Around 1:30 this morning, a car ended up on the roof of an apartment complex here. Apparently, the driver was speeding down Valentine just south of Shaw, hit some rocks, hit a tree stump, which launched that car into the air. And as you can see, it ended up on top of the roof. Amazingly, it didn't crash through the roof. It just sat there for several hours until they finally got it down just a few minutes ago. Now, there were two people inside that apartment. We talked with one of them, a young girl who was babysitting.
I wonder how it got up there, because it had to hit the rocks, but how did it? I don't know. But yeah, that's it.
Well, hopefully they get this car out. What have they
Yeah.
told you so you can go back inside?
I think we might have to spend the night at our cousin's house or something. They're not sure when we could go back inside.
They haven't told you anything yet?
They haven't told us anything.
We're trying to get the apartment stabilized so then we can begin to safely remove the vehicle from the apartment. Obviously, we have to take into consideration any gas, any electrical, notifying some of the other residents in the surrounding apartments.
And Marks, the suspect, wearing only boxer shorts. Police say they're now trying to determine if he might have been high on drugs or alcohol. Zara, I have to tell you, the police officer we interviewed there, he had a kind of a sense of humor about this whole thing. He said when he first heard the call of a car on the roof, he thought it might be Santa. He also said that in 22 years on the force, he had never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this. And Zara, I think we're going to try here to roll. We have the video we just shot a few minutes ago of the crane.
There you go.
There it is. Look at that, the huge crane they brought in. They treated this like an air conditioning unit. They just picked it up, and look at that. They brought it down. Finally, that's how they got the car down off the roof. This is the first time we're seeing this video. So this is not live. This is actually video we shot just a short time ago. But the car is out of here now, and thankfully everything, this situation resolved. You know, it really could have been a disaster if that car crashed through the roof with people inside. But wow, what a story! What a story!
Yeah, unbelievable. And I guess, Mike, it's better that it landed whole on the roof than into the side of the house, since no one got injured in the house, right?
That's true. Very true. Very true. I haven't seen anything like this.
No, it's crazy. All right, thanks so much, Mike. Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney heads to New Hampshire today. Breaking news out of Northwest Fresno, a driver ended up crashing, look at this video, onto the roof of a house. Not into the side. The car landed perfectly on the roof. Shockingly, no injuries reported. It happened around 1:30 this morning on Emerson, south of Shaw and Valentine. The car is finally off the roof, but Mike Scott's still hanging out there wrapping up this crazy story. Mike, good morning.
Yeah, just when you think you've seen it all, Sarah, you come across a story like this one. As you said, 1:30 this morning, a car ended up on the roof of an apartment complex just south of Shaw and Valentine. Apparently the driver was speeding through this neighborhood in the fog, missed a big curve in the road, hit some rocks, then hit a tree stump, which launched the car into the air, and that's where it ended up, right where you see it. Now, there were two people inside the apartment, including a young girl who was babysitting, and as you can imagine, she was pretty surprised.
Were you scared when you first saw it?
I thought the car was gonna fall through the roof.
So you said it sounded like an earthquake?
Yeah, it felt like, well, it didn't sound like, it just felt, because it was weird, because I don't know how to explain it, but I just thought it was an earthquake, like, oh, earthquake. And the first thing that just popped in my head was just grab him, and I just snatched him off the couch, and then he woke up.
The driver of the car fled from the scene at the time of the traffic collision, and he has since been caught by our police officers in the area of Shaw and Marks. Our officers have not positively identified him as the driver, but he was fleeing from this area, and he's displaying some injuries, and we are pretty confident that we have the driver over at Shaw and Marks.
Yeah, and that suspect was wearing only boxer shorts when they took him into custody. They're now trying to figure out if he was possibly under the influence of alcohol or drugs. We also have some video to show you of the car coming down off the roof. They used a big crane. They treated this like they would, be taking an air conditioner off a roof. They brought in the huge crane and lowered it. And look at this. When the car got close to the ground, Sarah, it was wobbling all over the place. And thankfully, they finally got it down safely. But yeah, some really scary moments there in the fog just a short time ago. Yikes, look at that thing swaying back and forth.
Wow.
But yeah, it's all over now. And the car they just towed it out of here a short time ago. What a story, though. People will be talking about this one at the water cooler this morning.
Mike, can you imagine if the car landed perfectly on the roof without damaging the house, and then the tow truck slammed it into the window? Wow, but it looks like everything's okay.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Ah! It's hard to watch that. Oh, my goodness. All right, thanks a lot, Mike. And I can't believe the guy jumped out of the car, jumped off the roof, and ran away. All right, Mike, thank you so much. And this gets story of the year so far. Updating breaking news out of Northwest Fresno. Cleanup is now over after a car ended up parked on the roof of a house. It didn't crash into the house. It ended up perfectly on top of the house. This happened just south of Shaw and Valentine around 1:30 this morning. No more car on the house, but lots of fog where Mike Scott is live this morning. Good morning again, Mike.
Yeah, I like that story of the year so far. 3 or 4 days into January, and we've already got a really interesting story. Yeah, at 1:30 this morning, a driver coming through this neighborhood just south of Shaw and Valentine missed a curve, and hit some rocks, hit a tree stump, and his car went airborne, and you are looking at where that car ended up, right on top of an apartment building. Unbelievable that the car did not crash through the roof. It just sat there for several hours until they were finally able to get it down. Now, there were 2 people inside the apartment, including one young girl who was babysitting.
I wonder how it got up there because it had to hit the rocks, but how did it? I don't know. But yeah, that's it.
Well, hopefully they get this car out. What
Yeah.
have they told you so you can go back inside?
I think we might have to spend the night at our cousin's house or something. They're not sure when we could go back inside.
They haven't told you anything yet?
They haven't told us anything.
We're trying to get the apartment stabilized so then we can begin to safely remove the vehicle from the apartment. Obviously, we have to take into consideration any gas, any electrical, notifying some of the other residents in the surrounding apartments.
Now, the guy in the car took off running, and here you see him being arrested a short distance away. That was near Shaw and Marks. He was only wearing his boxer shorts, so police are trying to figure out if he might have been under the influence of something. They brought in a big crane around 5 o'clock this morning to bring that car down off the roof, and this whole situation has now been resolved, Zara, and everything back to normal in this neighborhood this morning. Here you see the car being lowered down off the roof a short time ago, and look at this. When it got close to the street, it started wobbling, but whoa, thankfully nobody was hurt there. They did get the car finally onto a tow truck, and they towed it out of here just a short time ago. So
wow.
What an interesting story to kick off 2012.
All right, and again, we're kind of giggling about this, but no one was injured, so that's what we want to get out there. Thanks so much, Mike, for your live reports all morning long. Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney heads to New Hampshire today as the winner of the